Hey everybody, this is a totally weird time for me to be doing an Instagram live. I usually do these in the middle of the afternoon, but my day got away with me. I actually just spent a lot of time hanging out with my oldest daughter, which was totally fun, and it seems like a really good introduction to doing this podcast episode. So I want to talk to you about my podcast episode on this Instagram live, which was really about empty nest anxiety, what it's like to be my age, or maybe your age, or maybe even you're a mom of like a little one. Maybe your baby's like 2 or brand new, and you're already wondering what you're gonna do when they leave the house. And I get it. My oldest is moved out. He's moved out. He lives not too far. He's like a couple hours away, but he did move out, and it was a hard thing. And I know that my daughter, who I was spending time with this morning, she's 21 and she's gonna move out, and my other kids are 17 and 15. So, it's coming. I know it's coming. I don't love it, but there's also parts of it that I do love. So I want to talk with you, and if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Of course, I want to answer your questions today, but I just want to give you some hope and some perspective on what it's like when your kids start to grow up and start to maybe need you a little less and then move out, which is really what they're supposed to do, right? Rationally, we all know they're not supposed to live in our basement forever, but there's also parts of us that want to hang on to that feeling, those snuggly baby moments. So if you are a mom who's still snuggling those little tiny ones, yeah, I remember being that mom and thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? I remember my oldest, and he was 24 hours old. We were still in the hospital, and I remember hormones, right? I'm crying because he's already a whole day old, and he's going to get older. Oh my goodness, all of those feelings. And those feelings are still there, even when your kids get older, even when they're 23 and 21, or teenagers, where you have a different relationship with them, and you're like, I don't really like you that much right now, but man, I love you, and I don't know what I'm going to do when I get to this point where everybody moves out. So it can make you feel really desperate, really confused, especially when you've invested so much time, so much energy, so much of your own self into raising these people, into doing exactly what all of a sudden we're faced with them doing, which is not living in our house anymore. And you might feel like, well, I don't know who I am. I was a mom. I was a mom for so long. I don't know who to hang out with. All of my friends are from their activities, and I don't know this stranger living in my house. I think we're married, and I'm sure we're married, but what the heck? We don't have anything in common because all we've done is raise our kids. We don't know what to do. And maybe you're not that couple, right? Maybe you're the couple that does that you do have that relationship where you're hanging out more and you're developing that, which is fantastic. But some people don't have that relationship, and they're at this point where they're I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to do with my spouse or my partner, or, I don't know how to relate to my kids now that they're older and moving out. What am I supposed to do? What am I not supposed to do? Do I call them every day? Do I not call them? Do I need them to call me? Should I not need them? Is this bad? Let's take a breath, because the first thing we need to do is we just have to acknowledge that this is new territory, and anything new is scary, and your brain can really quickly perceive it as a threat. It can say something's wrong, you're broken, your life is over. There's you can feel really anxious about it. I don't know what they're doing all the time. Should I be monitoring this? Or I'm just going to push it away. I don't want to think about it, and then feel bad because you do spend so much time thinking about it. Or maybe you feel really bad because you don't think about it. All of these things can happen. Nothing is wrong. There's no right or wrong way to do this. There's just the way that you're doing it. And that's okay. But the first thing you have to do is you just have to acknowledge the fact that something doesn't feel right, and then start getting really curious about what it is. Just say, okay, it is new. It's supposed to feel different. And maybe I'm not supposed to know what it feels like right now. Maybe I thought I was going to be really sad, and I feel really happy. And maybe I feel embarrassed of that, or I feel like I'm doing it wrong because I'm not crying every day. And on the flip side, maybe you're crying every day because you thought you would be woohoo, my house is clean and I can do whatever I want. And all of a sudden you're lonely and you're sad and you're embarrassed about that. Just acknowledge the fact that whatever you're feeling is normal and fine and good, and you don't have to do anything about it. Let's start there. You guys, I keep looking at my crazy hair right now, and I look a little witchy. I'm sorry. The next thing I want you to know after you get to this point where you're okay, I've acknowledged that definitely I'm feeling something. Maybe you can even label it. Maybe you can say, I feel sad. I feel joy. I feel terrified. I feel angry. I feel embarrassed. I feel mournful, because there's a grieving process here, right? Anytime we let go of what we know and our life changes and we lose a part of ourselves, there's grief involved. So don't be surprised if you feel really intense grief inside your body. That's okay. But you have to start with knowing that. The second thing is you got to find other moms who are in the same boat as you, because guys, we're out there, okay? I am not the only mom going through this. And I know that my friends' kids are moving out at the same pace. I know this one because this podcast request was from my friend. So this episode is for you, but also because I feel it with you. Like, you know that like we're in the same boat with this. Okay. If you are my age, you probably already have enough other hormone issues going on to wonder like how you're going to manage your own body and the chaos that's going on inside of you, but also the hormones that come with like that heart that's already outside of your chest moving a little bit farther away. And this was also kind of feels like a spinoff of the episode I did about like when your kids go to college and you feel anxious about them going to college. It's along the same lines, but this is like empty nest where you're like, oh, now what? And that's a little bit different. Okay. So you have the opportunity to rekindle these relationships that maybe you've let go of with your old friends. Maybe they're friends that you're like, God, we used to hang out all the time and it was so much fun to be able to get together and do whatever you did with them. And you get to rekindle those old relationships that maybe you didn't have time for when you were busy being full-time mom. Okay. When you were busy doing like, I guess mom work, and then sports, or choir, or whatever your kids did. And that was it. But now it's you time. Right. And I did an episode with Leslie Duffy a while back. And you can go back and it'll just say interview with Leslie Duffy. If you're listening to my podcast, go back and listen to that, because she talks about the changes that happen inside your brain and body when you go through perimenopause, and how maybe the best time for your kids to leave the house is when you're in this place inside your body where you're like, and you know what? That's fine, because I'm not making dinner tonight. I don't have to. And you get to celebrate that. But rekindling your relationships with your friends, with your spouse, and with yourself and what you love. Really taking care of yourself and saying, what do I really want to do? Like if I have this free time, what is it that I've wanted to do? Maybe you want to learn how to like make macarons. Maybe you want to, I don't know, maybe you want to start travel. Maybe you want to start playing pickleball. Whatever you want to do. Maybe you want to learn how to quilt something, or I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter, okay? But find something that you want to do to take care of yourself. Find these new interests, find these new hobbies. Go with your partner or your spouse and go with your best friends and be like, you know what we've never done? We've never done wine and canvas before. We should do that. It's been like 20 years and we've never done this. We keep saying we're going to. You finally give a chance to do it. Go do it. Maybe you want to go, maybe you're going to join a new club. Maybe you're going to do these things, get back involved in church, whatever it is that you've been missing that you want to get back to, it is your chance. You get to grow as a person and you get to become more of who you are in this moment, even though you're like, but my babies aren't home. And I'm just going to tell you a little secret that when your kid moves out, or when your kids move out and they come home for the weekend, or they come back to visit for the weekend, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like Christmas in August or May or whenever they come back, or they just might come back and be like, come over for dinner. And it's like, oh, they get to come for dinner. And then that's really special. It just has this whole different meaning. So yes, I have one kid who's moved out. I have 3 more who it's going to happen. I mean, my 21-year-old could tell me tomorrow that she was moving out and with her boyfriend, and I couldn't do anything about it. And I would say, okay, I'm going to miss you and you better get your butt over here to have coffee with me sometimes. Okay? Because you get to stay connected. You get to stay connected with your kids in a different relationship. And I will tell you that because 2 of my kids are adult kids, it's amazing. Having adult children is fun. Yes, I miss every day when they were teeny tiny snuggly things and we could like snuggle up on the couch, or I could put them in my bed. But adult kids are fun in a whole different way, because you get to take off that disciplinary mom role and you get to be like, oh, now I get to actually be the friend that I wanted to be to them when they were little, and I had to hold boundaries where I had to ground them, or I had to tell them, no, you have to do your homework first. You don't have to do that anymore because they're adults. You don't have to do that anymore. You just get this new relationship with your kids, which is magical. But also, if you are really struggling, excuse me, if you are very anxious, if you are feeling like I just have no direction, I don't know how to make friends, I don't know what I want to do, I can't get rid of this anxious feeling inside my body, talk to me. One, because I'm in it with you. And two, because this is what coaching is for. I'm going to help you get clear on what you actually want and clear on what you actually already have. We're going to set some goals for what happens for you when you have an empty nest. What do you want to see in your life? Maybe you want to remodel. Maybe you want to sell your house. Maybe you want to go back to school. Whatever it is for you, let's find a way to make that happen. That is my job. That is what I love to do. And I can totally help you. All you have to do is message me. You can put it in the comments. Hey, I just DM'd you. Send me a message and let's set up time to talk because I can help you with this. Empty nest time does not have to be the end of your life. It gets to be a brand new beginning and it's fun. And you know what? Someday you're going to be like the cool grandma who gets to be like, I'm making cookies. I'm going to feed them to you and I'm checking out because I'm going to go play pickleball. Okay, you guys, I hope you have a great weekend. I have a really fun weekend planned and I will talk to you again next week. Again, questions or anything like that, put them in the comments. I promise I will answer them then. See ya.